Welcome. My name is Ronald Mason, President of the University of the District of Columbia. The public institution of higher learning in and for the nation's capital. That's right. We are honored to have with us today Mayor Bowser, Councilmember McDuffie, and commissioners from wards 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We are also honored to have with us the chairman of our board, Christopher Bell, and trustees Shelton and Tard, and the member of our foundation board, Judith Terra. So today is an important day for the residents of the district. The pathway to the middle class has many stations along the way. We have rapidly improving public and public charter schools, state-of-the-art libraries, and high-quality parks and recreation facilities. But no matter what the stops along the way, the path to the middle class for many of our residents leads to one place, and that is public higher education, which means that the journey to the middle class travels through the only public university in the district, which is the University of the District of Columbia. So this day is important because whether it is the thousands of students served by our professional certification, associate, bachelor, or graduate and professional degree programs, or the thousands more of all ages touched by our land grant work, and by the way, all of them will make great use of this facility here at Backus. Every investment in UDC lays another stone on the pathway to the middle class. So this day is important because we are seeing the pathway starting to be completed. The pathway to the middle class for our residents, but also to a sustainable, resilient, and equitable future for the district. So welcome today. It's an important day. Now we'll proceed with the program as printed, which means I'll be followed by the chairman of our board of trustees, Christopher Bell, who will then be followed by the mayor, and then Councilmember McDuffie, the chief of our community college, Tony E. Summers, and then Frank Wiles, ANC commissioner from 5A01. Chairman Bell.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Christopher Bell, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees, and it's my distinct pleasure to be here today for this occasion. I want to thank my fellow trustees for being here as well. Although it's a dreary day outside, it's a wonderful day here at the university. I could not be any more pleased with the development of Bertie Backus. I joined the board in 2011, and the university was a different place at that time. There were many issues, there were many challenges that were going on. But through the great leadership of our chairs, including our most recent chair, Dr. Elaine Kreider, this university is thriving and it is doing things and it's going places. I continue to give my thanks to Ron Mason and the excellent assembled team that he has here of staff, students, teachers that do the work for this university that are helping us to reinvigorate and help give this university the praise and the recognition that it deserves. Thank you. The trustees have a commitment to the built environment at this university, and we're looking forward to doing everything that we can to make sure that our students, our faculty, our staff are being educated in well-thought, well-designed buildings and institutions that align with our curriculum. But we're not forgetting about the community. We want the community to be involved, to make use of our resources, and to know that while we're at Van Ness, that we're all throughout this city, and that we're trying to be in every place, in all wards, at all time for all students. So I thank you all for being here, and say stay tuned, because you ain't seen nothing yet. We're looking forward to the next steps, and thank you for being a part of this journey.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to UDC, our Backus campus. Let's hear it for our great president and UDC team. It brings me a great pleasure to be at our university, and I always like to hear President Mason talk about our university. And sometimes it's an introduction to people of just what and who UDC is, and other times it's a reintroduction to people to let them know about President Mason's vision, and the vision that is supported by just an outstanding board of trustees. And I want to thank the board of trustees for their dedicated service to the residents of the District of Columbia. Thank you, Trustee Bell. I congratulated heartily the trustees when they shared with me their selection of President Mason. And I just had the wonderful opportunity then to get to know him, to understand his record of achievement, and to understand his vision for how we move forward together. And there is not a time when President Mason and I are together that he doesn't mention what the transformation is going to take and what type of investment it's going to take. You've heard this conversation, right? And he has a real smooth way of saying it. And it all ends with, it's up to you. Sound right? See, I do listen, Mr. President. And it is up to us. It's up to us as residents of the district, as taxpayers of the District of Columbia, and as people who, like my family, have benefited from the University of the District of Columbia. I say all the time how it transformed my mother's trajectory, which therefore transformed the trajectory of our entire family. And I'm glad that her husband is with us today, my father, Joe Bowser. So let me give a big thank you to my dad for being here, to Councilmember McDuffie, who is here. I want to give you a big round of applause for your support of the university in Ward 5, and also Commissioner Wilds. And I also want to recognize the Lamont Riggs, specifically the Riggs Park community who I see in the audience. Mr. Martin, who is here, and so many people from Lamont Riggs who, you don't know this, Mr. Mason, but there was a big discussion about this building at one time. Some of you will remember. And I am glad that the discussion ended with UDC being the entity that would shepherd Bertie Backus's future. This building has represented a lot over the years to this community, and to have it filled with life and filled with opportunities for DC residents to change their lives right here at the Fort Totten Metro means the world to us. So you heard President Mason talk about what our commitment to public education has meant in Washington, D.C. And so many people have been a part of it. And in the last 2 years, we've really had a focus on the robust transformation of our pre-K through 12 options. And in that time, we see graduation rates go up in our city, enrollment up in our city in both DCPS and our public charter schools. And just last week at the start of school, I got to talk about how achievement is also up, a steady climb over 10 years, not overnight, but a steady climb over 10 years that demonstrates when you are committed by word and deed and investment, we can change outcomes for our students. And the same is true for UDC. And so we will be very interested in working hand in hand with the university to see those visions come true. You will recognize that we have invested over $50 million to improve UDC facilities and ensure that students have access to the latest technologies. For all of us who have great college experiences, we know that having a student center and a center of activity on a campus is important, right? For all of us who got to have the not so good food at the student dining center, that's even a part of the experience. We know if our university is to compete with the options that our students have across the country, they also have to have affordable affordable and safe and nearby housing experiences. So I know that that is part of the president's mission. We know, too, that the offerings have to be competitive with the job market, and that's why we are very encouraged by UD's focus in its mission to focus on sustainability and to use its campus and facilities to make sure that our students know that they can have that cutting-edge experience right at their university. It's also important that we look at all of the needs of our city, and UDC's Workforce Edge program, which is a partnership that allows adult learners to earn a high school diploma or GED. That is also a critical component to how our city will improve and transform people's opportunities. The DC UP program, or the DC University Partnership, I quite frankly don't know why we hadn't thought about it before, but President Mason did, and his mission was to make UDC a #1 choice for DC high school students. And because he's done that, his focus on DC UP, and it started with valedictorians and salutatorians having a full scholarship to UDC. And that is awesome. And I think last year we got a few dozen takers for the program, and this year it's over 100 takers for the program. And 42 of those scholars, DC UP scholars, will be attending the UDC Community College. So that is outstanding news. So we know when our students know that we're serious, and sometimes they know we're serious by looking at our facilities, and UDC is no different. We are very proud that UDC delivered the student center, and we're very proud of this beautiful facility. So when our learners come to this facility, they will be able to see this wonderful investment in this auditorium. Here we have quality classrooms and flex labs and office support for the university. We have improved all of the heating and cooling systems, the audio and visual and lighting systems. So this is just yet another example of UDC's commitment to high quality services. And so I wanted to be here because I wanted to be very clear that you have chosen excellent leadership. President Mason has a vision for the university, but it is also up to us to make sure he has our support, both inside the university community and outside the university community. Now that sounds like a simple statement, but I know university politics are the roughest out there. And I don't intend for this president to be chewed up by any of it. And we're going to be with him, and we're going to make continue to work with you to produce the university that we need. So let me just say this in closing, that I'm going to introduce our council member to the stage. This is probably some of the best of times in Washington, D.C. Don't you agree? Our city is booming. It is growing. Almost 1,000 people move here each and every month. Our business climate has changed to the point where people are calling us to say, Bowser, we want to move our business to D.C. We want to hire D.C. residents to work for us. We see more and more D.C. neighborhoods that we know that we could raise our families in, send our kids to school, take advantage of free recreation opportunities, great public libraries like the one we're about to build here in Lamont Riggs. And so all of those things are good for our city. Trust me, there are hundreds of mayors who would like to trade places with me because of the trajectory of our city. But that success also puts a lot of pressure on the work that we have to do so that all of our residents can succeed. For a person like me, whose family has been here for 5 generations, makes no sense to me to have a lot of success, but have a lot of people who are looking at it from across the room or the river or the park and can't touch it. So that's why we're so focused. When you hear the president talk about our focus on pathways to the middle class, that's what it's about. Using the progress that we've made to invest in the needs that we still have. We can all agree to that, can't we? And so let us speak for fairness and equality in those investments. And it's been true for decades, and it is true today, that nothing changes a person's trajectory of opportunity like education and a good public education. Thank you, UDC. So let me introduce my friend Kenyan McDuffie, who represents Ward 5. And all the conversations Kenyan and I have, we have so very much in common for what we want for our city. And we recognize together the challenges of making sure we're building a city that is for everyone. And I'm just been pleased to work with him on our beloved Ward 5, but also everything we need for Washington, D.C. Councilmember McDuffie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let me begin by giving thanks to the folks who are seated behind me. But I want to start by thanking our mayor. I mean, you heard her speak with such passion and intensity about the importance of education, the importance of creating opportunities, the pathway to the middle class that she talks about all the time. What's clear is that she gets it. And I think when you stand here and I watch her at a place like the Community College of UDC, not too far from where she grew up, but that connection that she has to university, it really makes me proud to know that we're making these types of investments and that we have a mayor who gets it and understands how important it is that UDC and the Community College thrives the way that it does. So let's give her a round of applause, please. I also want to thank some other folks who are seated in the audience. You heard the mayor mention her dad, the first dad, Joe Bowser. We also have Romaine Thomas, who's here. We have Anthony Hood, who chairs our zoning commission. We have a host of other folks, including Frank Wiles, our ANC commissioner, and other ANC commissioners who are seated in the audience. We got Civic Association leadership from Lamar Riggs. This is, I think, really a testament to the important partnership that we have with UDC. President Mason, Dr. Summers, Chairman Bell, and the whole Board of Trustees. You all should know that you've got a lot of folks who have your backs. This communities around UDC really get how important it is as sort of a center of just really civic activity in Ward 5 and parts of Ward 4 as well. And so we really appreciate all that you do and all that you all continue to do at the Community College to make sure you are open for folks right here, right, Frank? Right, Commissioner Edwards, who are having their meetings here once a month. We really appreciate all that the Community College does and continues to be that partner with us, too. So we will give you all a round of applause and give all the civic leaders who are here a round of applause. We really appreciate you all. To be a world-class city, we need a world-class educational system, and that includes world-class community colleges and facilities. Since I entered office, I have vigorously advocated on behalf of UDC and on behalf of the community college, really trying to ensure that the necessary resources are in place to train a future of leaders here in the District of Columbia. And that the community college has been a phenomenal partner, as I mentioned, in Ward 5 and across the district, really helping to enhance opportunities for our residents and students across the region. I know that under the leadership of President Mason and Dr. Summers, Chairman Bell, and the entire Board of Trustees, the community college and the university will continue to grow and find success. Here at UDC, students are given the opportunity to develop their skills and receive a top-notch education in state-of-the-art facilities. It's at institutions like UDC that we truly have an opportunity to build our future by helping our neighbors and really creating this momentum that we've gotten to create opportunities across the District of Columbia for our residents and students. And finally, on a personal note, as some of you may already know, I'm proud to have attended and quite frankly get my start on the campus of UDC. I know President Mason knows this, Mayor Bowser understands this, but I've got two very important people seated in the audience, my two young daughters, Casey and Josie, who are out of school today, who I want to know, were it not for the University of the District of Columbia, there would not have been any admission to Howard University. Were it not for the University of the District of Columbia, for me, there wouldn't have been no admission to the University of Maryland Law School. Were it not for the University of the District of Columbia creating opportunities for me and my family, I'm likely to not have been standing before you all this morning. So I want to give a shout out to all the leadership and all the folks who have cared over the years for these universities and the top-notch leadership that we have seated right here on this stage behind me who continue to fight and make sure that there are opportunities created for people like me across the District of Columbia. So thank you all. We really appreciate your work. I'm going to show who we have next. And I think we have next could be followed by Dr. Summers, who you all know is the Chief Community College Officer at the University of the District of Columbia.
Wow. When I first walked into this building some 16 months ago, it was down to the studs. And to watch the progress, the excitement, the enthusiasm of staff, community members, and to see the end result is just phenomenal. I am so pleased in terms of where we are and where we can go. The community college, Bertie Backus, is one of many doors in an advanced system of higher education known as the University of the District of Columbia. It's a special place in a special city that has the welfare of its citizens at the heart of its mission. When I think about the progress that we've made and the future that we have, I often think about the playwright August Wilson. August Wilson, in his play, Joe Turner's Come and Gone, affectionately refers to one of his characters as the Bindy Man. And the Bindy Man's role was to bring the community together, to help build relationships, and to help individuals communicate with one another for the growth and the development of the community and families. We, University of District of Columbia, the community college, serves that role in Washington, D.C. We provide the adhesive to allow the citizens to work towards their goal and the support, whether it's in the classroom or external from the classroom, in credit courses as well as workforce development. We also provide the flexibility and the connections that allow for transition for students to move from the community college to the four-year university, and also the type of support that's needed for taking that next step, whether it's graduate school or employment. We are excited to be a part of this community. We are excited about the potential growth. I am excited to be here. Muriel Bowser, President Mason, I thank you for all that you have done to help the continuous growth of UDC and the community college. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Frank Wiles, ANC Commissioner.
Good morning. First of all, I want to let y'all know you are in the highest voting precinct in the city, Precinct 66. Whenever an at-large or mayor, they run for the office, they always come to Precinct 66 because we turn out. We turn out. And most of all, I want to thank the staff of UDC have been very supportive to this community, really. They work with us for our community meetings, getting together, open their doors to us, and the programs they are presenting to the community is very important. And I want to thank my chairman, Ronnie Edwards, been the leader of the ANC for a number of years, Ms. Mayor, and he's doing an outstanding job. We need to keep running again. But most of all, this community is very proud of UDC. I live in this community for over 40 years, less than a mile away. And I take pride in this community. I take pride in this university because the job that they are doing. Lamont Riggs, love you all, and thank you, Ms. Mayor and Mr. President, for this opportunity to reopen this auditorium. I was telling the councilman earlier, 2000, we had the largest turnout for a mayor debate. In 2000, we had the mayor, We had the largest turnout for a debate in this auditorium. UDC, you're great. We love you, and we will support you any way we can as ANC commissioners. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming. There is a reception afterwards, and we invite you all to join us. Let me thank the members of the podium here for joining us today. And let me thank Team UDC, because the president gets a lot of credit, but it's Team UDC that does all the work. So let's thank them.